The man participated in the mercenary assessment test and shocked the examiners present as he passed the test in just 0.25 seconds. Examiner, you have already lost. It turns out that before the assessment, I had already thought of a strategy. At the moment the competition started, I immediately moved sideways to get behind the examiner, then swiftly placed the knife on his neck, completing the kill.
Since I escaped from the Japanese-style dungeon, I've been leveling up like crazy and grabbed a lot of high-level equipment in the dungeon, so my strength has improved rapidly. Just as I was eagerly preparing to leave the dungeon, a sharp slash quickly came down at me. In that moment, my speed reached its peak, and I used a short distance jump almost a second before it landed. The berserker in front of me showed a mocking smile. Didn't expect your reaction speed to be quite fast.
If my movement had been just a bit slower, I would have been beheaded by him. The berserker kept attacking me, using a charge skill. Each of his slashes was powerful, but just as his move was exhausted, I leaped in front of him, and with a swoosh, my dagger sliced his left hip. Then, with a dash, I quickly left the spot. I used the blood stab skill, which limits recovery ability after 10 consecutive attacks. I need to land more hits. However, I heard words that made me angry and ashamed. The berserker arrogantly said, "You call that an attack?" The two underlings behind him were extremely delighted. It seemed like the boss had the upper hand. The berserker class becomes stronger as the game progresses. The berserker swung his broadsword and it hit my neck, but I cleverly dodged the previous strike, which still startled me. The berserker's attack power is indeed strong, but likewise, he has many weaknesses. I made another thrust, using the blood stab skill to injure his right rib. After each battle, I would leave this spot, never giving him a chance to engage me in close combat. The berserker laughed heartily. "Your little tricks are just like scratching an itch for me." Watching his arrogant demeanor, I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. "If I stab you 4 more times, you'll know how formidable I am." Without further hesitation, I prepared to strike the berserker with 4 consecutive slashes. Just as my figure was about to approach him, the berserker was startled, sensing something unusual, because a black aura appeared behind me, and my figure gradually blurred. This black aura was my newly acquired skill, which could temporarily make the opponent lose sight. In that instant, I was like a reaper of life, with a murderous intent in my eyes, almost becoming tangible. The berserker's eyes were covered with a black aura, making it impossible to see where I was. What surprised him even more was that I actually combined it with a brief stun, causing his brain to freeze for a moment. These two abilities combined are simply a killer move. Whoosh 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 whoosh. My arm kept thrusting forward, stabbing the berserker 7 times in a row. Although none of the stabs were fatal, they definitely caught him off guard. The continuous battle made the berserker very angry because I was darting around like a mouse. Although I was hit, the damage wasn't strong enough, and the berserker could still hold on. After achieving my goal, I immediately moved sideways to get behind him. At this moment, the berserker's eyes were almost bulging out. "You little mouse finally showed up. I guess you're almost out of tricks, aren't you?" But the next moment, an irresistible pain surged through his mind and entire body. Worse yet, his recovery was suddenly unusable, and his whole body felt stripped, unable to exert any strength. The two underlings nearby were worried, wondering what was wrong with their boss. Could there be something wrong with his body? The berserker was gnashing his teeth in anger. Subsequently, his aura suddenly surged, preparing to use the final strike to end the battle. But what he didn't expect was a large hand gripping his abdomen. The berserker looked down in disbelief, completely unable to understand why this hand appeared here. Then his thoughts ended, as my dagger went straight for him. With a swish, my dagger pierced through his heart. This all happened so fast that he couldn't react at all. My eyes were fixed on the berserker. Even if you are a berserker by profession, at the end of the day, you are still human. If you lose too much blood, you will definitely die. The berserker's body fell heavily to the ground. I didn't expect that the berserker who appeared halfway would give me experience and equipment. This is quite a pleasant surprise. The two underlings, seeing their boss killed, immediately turned and ran. The man in front of them was clearly not an ordinary person. I didn't chase them because in my eyes, they were just pitiful NPCs. The most important thing was this berserker in front of me. I had to loot his equipment first. The interface conveyed a message that I have eliminated the opponent and successfully seized the contract signed with the Blood Glutton. This made me extremely excited. The taste of the Blood Glutton is truly amazing. Today's already the second time I have obtained 4 skills. I shouted to the sky, "I have worked so hard. You should give me some assistance, right?" However, the plunderer just called me a madman and then went silent, which made me smile wryly. "You really are stingy." At this moment, the Holy Seat sent a message. The more you lose internally, the greater the probability of being immune to mental attacks. And this is the ability of the Blood Glutton. I glanced at the equipment collected by the berserker and found that all of it was useful to me. There was a precious anti-magic horn, shoes that could increase movement speed, and a stamina-enhancing glove. It was like getting a pillow when you're sleepy. I really needed to enhance my stamina, and this glove could also be used for throwing things. After organizing everything, I went back to report. At this moment in Daichin, when I returned here, it was already midnight. When Captain Lee saw what I brought him, he was extremely surprised. I didn't expect that I would actually do what I said, and so easily obtain Baltaros's shoes. Thank you so much, Mr. Dankui. I told him not to be so polite and to quickly assign me the next task. Captain Lee chuckled and said that actually, following him was a way to test the trustees, and more than half were eliminated at this stage. His words made me a bit embarrassed, implying that 50% of the people died, right? But this is quite normal. Captain Lee's high-level commissions have a high success rate, probably because he is calm and calculating.
Subsequently, the captain handed me a piece of intelligence. According to our agreement, he would provide me with the strategy rights for the dungeon with many ultimate bosses, located at Storm Hill in Jiaping. It contains 4 ultimate bosses and 1 main boss. I took the information and carefully reviewed it, feeling very satisfied with this intelligence. A smile appeared on my lips. This place is a dungeon with 6 plunder skills, so I gladly accepted the task and asked him to help schedule my entry for the strategy tomorrow during the day.
Then with a grand gesture, I took out several pieces of equipment from my space bag and asked him to help me convert all of them into cash. This left the captain stunned. That Jimu Xiang guy really is really stole quite a lot of things. He will give me a good price. And next is the main point, which concerns my next assignment. I casually pointed and chose the one in the middle among several assignments. This is a wanted assignment from the Public Security Bureau to capture a criminal who stole public property and committed robbery with injury. The reward offered is 3 billion yuan. The captain carefully looked at the commission and found a problem, which is that this person hasn't appeared since he was last seen near Yangping Station. It would be a bit troublesome to find him. I told the captain not to worry because I have a way to find him. Just wait for my good news. In the evening, I made a phone call. After selling those useless pieces of equipment, I earned 2 billion, so I plan to buy some life-saving items first. Peep. The phone rang quickly, and the person on the other end asked who I was. As the author of the novel, I naturally understood the code words. After exchanging the passphrase, I asked him to prepare 10 crisis herbs and place them at Longshan Station. The elder on the other end of the phone readily agreed and said he would arrange it right away. After hanging up, I checked the time. There was still plenty of time before the dungeon raid, so I decided to gather some information first. I went to a nearby cafe, but as soon as I entered, a fight broke out. The man in front of me was struck on the neck with a sword, showing a look of shock. Strangely, after he fell, the group of people around him cheered. It turned out they were gambling on fights, a so-called battle casino. I came to the bar counter, took out 5 large bills, and asked for a glass of explosive crisis grass. This surprised the bartender, Bainey, as he didn't expect anyone to order such a drink. It seems my taste is quite unique. I feel that bartenders in places like this can be quite useful, as they hear a lot of things and remember a lot of information. I instinctively turned my head to look around, but what I saw shocked me. In front of me was a short-haired woman. Her aura was terrifyingly gloomy. But what surprised me even more was, why was she here? This woman was a subordinate of Nichishi cadre Zhang Dongxian, named Han Che Jiaoxi, which made my heart tremble uncontrollably. Could it be that she was here to track me? This is the bartender Bainey. It's a bit of a pity. Such a handsome guy. It's hard to see him again after the first meeting. It's really a shame. I was a bit puzzled. If you want to meet, I can come every day. But why did you say it's the last time we'll meet? Bainey leaned close to my ear and whispered that he recently heard this bar seems to have caught the attention of Rishi. They plan to pick some hunters from this bar to send to the mines, which is one of Rishi's typical illegal trafficking methods. After hearing what he said, I immediately understood that Che Jiaoxi came here for this reason. I glanced at him. It seems I can't drink here. I need to leave quickly. So I quickly got up, wanting to leave this troublesome place immediately. With a loud crash, the bartender and I simultaneously looked toward the door. I cursed under my breath, realizing I was really in trouble this time. A few fully armed men with axes in hand appeared at the entrance, instantly drawing everyone's attention. From their uniforms, some had already guessed they were from Nichishi. The leading man ordered his subordinates to make sure to leave some alive, otherwise there would be no one left to do the hard labor for them. The next second, 4 or 5 men rushed into the crowd, their faces showing a mocking expression, because in their eyes, these hunters were all lambs to the slaughter. Soon, a man was shocked because his shoulder was firmly grasped by a large hand, as if welded there, unable to move at all. With a thud, the man punched directly into the hunter's abdomen. Meanwhile, on the other side, someone was already standing on the bar hunter. However, at that moment, the captain's gaze focused, looking ahead in disbelief. He didn't expect that there was a reckless youth standing in front of him. Could it be that he didn't know what the situation was? Then he didn't hold back, thinking that such a reckless youth would be useless to take to Rishi, so he might as well kill him directly. But unexpectedly, before his attack landed, he was struck on the neck by his own companion, while I used lateral movement to get behind the person behind me. With a slicing sound, my arm slashed across his neck, directly taking his life. With that strike just now, I directly took 2 lives. You could say it was a double kill with 1 blow. This scene was also witnessed by Che Jiaoxi from a distance. Che Jiaoxi showed a manic smile, surprised to find such a fierce character here. Now this is going to be fun. He quickly lifted his toes and leaped forward, which left me with a look of shock on my face. I don't seem to have the confidence to win against this person now. Che Jiaoxi swiftly drew a short knife from his leg and swung it at me. I quickly used lateral movement to dodge the attack, and the short knife pierced the heart of the person behind me.
Che Jiaoxi didn't slow down, and in the blink of an eye, he was in front of his teammate. He quickly pulled out the small knife from his shoulder, and with a puzzled expression from the man, he kicked him hard against the wall. I stared intently at the woman in front of me, unsure of what she was planning. She turned her head and smiled at me, saying, "You're a new face, but really quite striking. Which guild are you from?" I replied that I hadn't joined any guild because I like being alone and don't want to be tied down to one place.
Upon hearing this, Che Jiaoxi showed a satisfied expression, saying this was the best outcome. "So would you like to discuss a business deal with me?" Then he looked to the Rishi team member in front of him. "But before that, we need to leave here." Everyone was caught off guard by this scene. Could it be a change in strategy?
Why is the investigator attacking us? Chechaoxi stared at them and mouthed words, signaling them to quickly attack the two of us. His teammates, upon understanding the lip reading, were instantly shocked, but they didn't hesitate much, as they had to follow the investigator's orders, and they all rushed forward. However, to me, this was just an incredible act. It turns out this was a setup, and it seems this woman wants to see my strength. Then I grinned. Since you want to play, I'll go along with your little trick. With a whoosh, before anyone could react, I swiftly threw the short sword in my hand. The Sunstone team members were shocked. The sword was so fast, but they quickly realized, since you threw away your sword, it means you have no weapon in hand. So they called everyone to attack me, but the next second, something unexpected happened. I slowly raised my arm, and the sword that had just pierced their companion flew back out and landed steadily in my hand. Taking advantage of this moment, I swiftly slashed at one of them, and in the blink of an eye, I killed another person. This scene left Chechaoxi stunned on the spot. If he wasn't mistaken, it should have been telekinesis. I chuckled and pointed to the emergency exit behind us, suggesting we quickly escape through there. Then I also hurry and escape from here because staying with them is really too dangerous. At this moment, Chechaoxi gently tapped the microphone on the bell, his fingers moving quickly as if tapping Morse code, signaling the team members not to act rashly. He was trying to win me over, so we quickly left through the passage behind us. As for those few pursuers, they were just putting on a show.
Chechaoxi showed interest in me. You must be an assassin, right? But how can you use magic? I chuckled, feeling like he was a fool. How could I possibly use magic? That strike just now was entirely the function of my gloves, which can perfectly link with the short sword. But I didn't explain this to him. Let him think whatever he wants, as I have no intention of revealing my identity. Bang! With a kick, I flew the door open, and when I turned my head, I saw 3 enemies had caught up.
Facing the opponent's attack, I easily dodged. Then I quickly swung a sword, taking his life. An elbow strike heavily hit the back of his head. With their strength, they couldn't harm me at all. Just as I was about to continue attacking, an interface box appeared in front of me. The Apostle of Justice was deeply moved by my actions to stop hypocrisy and evil, and consumed holy power to provide me with a beneficial effect. Experience points increased by 0.1. I chuckled. Thank you for your assistance, but does justice really exist? Meanwhile, another man appeared in front of me holding dual blades. His speed was swift, and as he predicted I was about to enter his attack range, he immediately slashed at me with a cross attack. However, this simple attack was not even worth my attention, and certainly couldn't harm me in the slightest. However, before I could make a move, a dagger pierced the man's head. I instinctively turned to look and was surprised to see that the one who acted was Chechaoxi. It seems he shows no mercy even to his own people. However, I couldn't care less about that. As long as he doesn't mind, he can kill as he pleases, since he's not killing my people. And 3 more people appeared in front of me. I planned to use the lives of these 3 thugs to thank the Holy Seat of Justice for its aid. I leaped into the air, landing above one of them, who looked completely stunned. I immediately used a jump skill to swiftly silence all 3. I want to see how this Apostle of Justice judges evil and righteousness, because by then, according to the novel's plot, I will become an evil person. I really look forward to his expression at that time. With a click, I landed steadily on the ground. At this moment, Chechaoxi also dealt with all the pursuing subordinates. I quickly kicked open the rooftop door, signaling to Chechaoxi if he wanted to come with me. Chechaoxi showed a smug smile. He indeed hadn't misjudged. This man in front of him was worth it. After a while, we found a place to hide, while the members of the Eclipse below were still pretending to search. This poor acting made me chuckle. As expected, just as predicted, they all left this area in 2.5 minutes. Chechaoxi turned his head and smiled at me. Are you interested in working in a place freer than the guild? Sure. In vain, he handed me a card, saying the reward would definitely satisfy me. His face showed an unexpected blush. I quickly took the card and was about to leave, saying I would contact him as soon as I finished handling my matters. Chechaoxi watched my departing figure, feeling that his goal would soon be achieved. This was definitely a strong and reliable teammate. Then, his long legs slowly turned around, and at that moment, his boss called him, hoping he could help investigate someone. Chechaoxi looked ahead into the distance. He had already dealt with the second batch of hunters. With confidence, he said to his boss, "It's just investigating someone. Nothing difficult. Just give me the name." Then, he received the man's information. His name was Shenjiang Ho. At this moment, I didn't know that the Eclipse had set their sights on me, but even if they had, I wasn't afraid. My strength was growing rapidly. If one comes, I'll kill one. If 2 come, I'll kill both. However, Chechaoxi never expected that the person he wanted to recruit today was exactly the one the boss was looking for, Shenjiang Ho. The next day at the station, I stayed in Daichen for one night and didn't hear any wanted news, so it seems they haven't noticed me yet. However, just in case, I left Daitian early, as I didn't want to have a conflict with them at this time. I got off the train at Longshan Station, and then switched to a bus to the next stop, quickly arriving at the delivery address. After waiting for 2 days, I finally received the much-anticipated Weiji grass. In the world of the novel, I know that Shenjiang Hu often receives Weiji grass in hidden spaces near the station, and fortunately, I had previously written this channel for him. Suddenly, a man's excited voice came to my ear. How could there be such a good job? Turning my head, I saw him furtively taking a call. When he noticed my gaze, he immediately yelled at me, "What are you looking at? If you don't want to die, get lost." Then he continued his furtive phone call, leaving me speechless. "If you dare say one more word, you'll meet the King of Hell."
In this city, the city is basically ruled by the Purification Guild. They use the excuse of ensuring residents' safety to cleverly monopolize the rights to explore dungeons. However, it's also the only area where the security bureau can function, which is why such a large mall can operate normally. Otherwise, the mall couldn't possibly be this large, and the prices in this area are ridiculously high. Fortunately, the mall's prices are only 1.5 times those of other areas, so they are still somewhat affordable. I casually picked up a short sword, which enhanced my strength. It was time to replace the practice sword. The next moment, a hard stone suddenly appeared in my hand. With a gentle squeeze, the veins on my hand bulged, and with a crack, I effortlessly crushed the stone. This felt really good. I didn't expect the enhancement from this short sword to be so significant. It truly was worth every penny. In addition, there is another bonus, which is the Breath of the Firmament. If you maintain a non-combat state for more than 30 minutes, your stamina recovery speed doubles. This bonus is very suitable for me. Although I don't need to worry about magic like other hunters, to effectively use magic sensitivity, the first thing to do is to maintain stamina. When I walked out of the building, I had that sharp sword in my hand, which I bought at a great cost. At this moment, a family of 3 appeared in front of me. The child wanted to eat fried chicken, and of course, his mother agreed to this small request. This is S City, where the Security Bureau and the Purification Guild will surely protect them, allowing them to walk the streets with peace of mind. I chuckled. This family is too naive to actually trust the people from the Security Bureau and the Purification Guild. If they understood deeply, they would realize these people are ruthless characters who devour everything without leaving a trace. As soon as I thought of this, I heard screams from behind. A masked black man not only hit the father, but also kidnapped his child. The father kept begging the man to let his child go. The man showed a wicked smile. "If you want to beg me, you need to show some sincerity." The crowd instantly panicked, and someone shouted, "Can anyone contact the security office? It's really too scar." They begged the man to spare their child. The man showed a wicked smile. "If you want to ask me, you need to show some sincerity." Someone in the crowd panicked. "Can anyone contact the security office?" Sorry. It's really bold, causing trouble in broad daylight in the city center. I gripped the short sword in my hand tightly. It seems I have to take action, subdue them first, and leave the rest to the security bureau. This is good. I'll show them some sincerity. However, before I could make a move, I was shocked to see a figure ahead. A handsome figure was slowly walking towards the masked men in black, and it was Kai Guan-heng from the Purification Guild. His strength ranks among the top 10 in the guild. He inherited the power of the evil throne, named Demon Battle Track, which has specialized abilities to enhance swordsmanship and separate space. I didn't expect to encounter Zhang Shihuan's companion here. He would never get involved in such matters. Why is he helping? I saw him casually throw out a black card, his expression extremely calm. The masked man took the card with a puzzled look. "What is this card for?" Kai Guan-heng chuckled. "You're doing this just for money? No matter how much you want, you can withdraw it from this card. However, the condition is that you must release this child." The boss nodded to his subordinate, signaling them to release the child. Then he gave a heavy push, throwing the child to Kai Guan-heng. After catching the child, they immediately fled backward. However, Kai Guan-heng just calmly watched the direction they fled. His palm slowly touched the ground, and in the next instant, he suddenly disappeared from the spot, moving so fast that it was impossible to see clearly. Even I could only vaguely see some after images. This guy is indeed not to be underestimated. When I saw his figure clearly again, he was already in front of the 2 men in black. A kind of black magic emanated from him, and then a black circle spread out from his feet. Soon, this black flame enveloped everyone. The 2 men were extremely shocked. They were just out for a side job. How did they end up provoking such a powerful guy? Now, the 2 men in black couldn't escape even if they wanted to, because they were enveloped by a black defensive shield. At that moment, Kai Guan-heng moved, followed by his sword slash. The silver sword fell, and the person's body was cut in half. Before dying, one of the men's veils was exposed. I remember this guy. He was the one making a call here before. He was sneakily taking a call, claiming the job was too easy. Could the job he mentioned have been kidnapping children? Staring incredulously at the dead companion, I couldn't believe you actually killed him. Afterward, he kept pleading with Kai Guan-heng. "Can you let me go? I've already done what you said." I was too lazy to listen to his explanation. Meanwhile, outside, no one could hear the sounds within the black circle's range. This should be a skill that blocks internal sounds, making it impossible for people outside to hear. The man also clearly knew that no matter how he explained, the other party wouldn't listen, so he placed his hand on the sword at his waist. Before he died, he cursed at Kai Guan-heng. "You demons! I didn't expect you to do such a thing, using their lives to boost your own prestige." Unfortunately, his roar was only heard by Kai Guan-heng, and no one else would ever know. Kai Guan-heng sneered disdainfully. He wouldn't even consider such a worthless character. "If you want to curse, go ahead and curse." After killing that person, he slowly removed the black barrier. I sighed deeply, thinking someone really dared to kidnap in broad daylight, but it turned out to be a play they directed themselves. I didn't expect them to use external profits to increase residents' trust in the Evolution Guild, being so ruthless and domineering. I snorted coldly, turned around, and left. "Enjoy your current situation while you can." After all the opportunities you are assigned in the future will belong to me. Meanwhile, on the other side, a steward handed the escape list to Chechaoxi. This is the recent information on escapees, this is all we know. So Chechaoxi casually flipped through the information, and when he saw one of the files, his finger paused because the list showed my name and my photo, along with some detailed information. After seeing my information, Chechaoxi's face showed an excited expression. This young man looks very familiar. Meanwhile, I arrived at the entrance of the dungeon and asked the guards in front, "Can I enter this dungeon now?" The two guards exchanged glances. The dungeon has been initialized and can be entered, but in their eyes, going in would be like courting death for me, as this dungeon is not something a level 20 hunter like me can conquer. I am far from reaching the recommended level to enter the dungeon. However, if I insist on going in, they won't stop me, finding it quite amusing. I definitely have to go in, otherwise, how can I level up quickly? If I keep dawdling like this, I might become someone else's prey, which is not what I want to see. So I set my level to 50, which is my first goal. I want the two guards to let me pass, and now I am going to enter the dungeon. 2.5 hours later, I entered the area filled with yellow sand, which made it impossible for me to see the road ahead. If an ordinary person came here, they would likely get lost and not find their way back. Fortunately, when I came, I infused magic into each footprint and then used my ability to check so I wouldn't lose my way. Just then, I was suddenly startled to see a cliff in front of me. If I hadn't noticed it earlier, I might have fallen off, and even if I didn't die, I would have been left half crippled. What annoyed me even more was that some monsters appeared behind me. In the yellow sand, a group of red eyes slowly appeared. These are spike-crawling lizards, a type of monster that is quite active in this area. However, I wasn't afraid at all and instantly drew my dagger, ready to fight. If this battle goes smoothly, I should be able to reach my goal soon. The spiked-crawling lizard let out a roar and charged at me with bared fangs and claws. In response, I gathered all my strength. Today, I am determined to have a fierce battle with these spiked-crawling lizards. Meanwhile, on the other side, Chechaoxi was listening to the intelligence from the steward. According to the report, Shenjiang seemed to have used magic to deceive the hunters tracking him, but the steward thought it must have been his good luck. After all, how could a level 10 possibly evade a level 100 hunter's pursuit? However, the subsequent information made him feel somewhat incredulous. A level 100 hunter actually died at the hands of a demon spirit level hunter. Chechaoxi closed the intelligence report in his hand, roughly understanding the steward's meaning. Later, he told the manager that he had already seen this escaped person a couple of days ago, which made the manager feel regretful for not arresting him at the time. What followed was even more shocking to him, as Chechaoxi predicted that I was at least level 100. Because of this, Chechaoxi was extremely angry and burnt the documents in his hand. "You better explain to me quickly what is going on with this document." Even the level information about Shenjiang is wrong.